Recorded Books presents a sci-fi audio production. Carnival by Elizabeth Bear. This unabridged recording is narrated by Celeste Chula and directed by Abigail McHugh. This book is copyrighted 2006 by Elizabeth Bear. This recording is copyrighted 2008 by Recorded Books. Sci-Fi Audio is an imprint dedicated exclusively to science fiction and fantasy titles on CD, from classics to bestsellers, cult hits to critically acclaimed award winners. In old Earth's clandestine world of ambassador spies, Michelangelo Kusanagi Jones and Vincent Catherinson were once a starring team. But ever since a disastrous mission, they have been living separate lives in a universe dominated by a ruthless coalition. One that is about to reunite them. And now, Carnival.
Book 1, The Festival of Meat. Chapter 1. Michelangelo Osiris Leary Kusanagi Jones had been drinking since 1400. He didn't plan on stopping soon. He occupied a bubble port on the current observation deck of Kaiwo Maru, where he had been since he started drinking, watching a yellow main-sequence star grow. The sun had the look of a dancer swirling in veils, a Van Gogh starscape. Eons before, it had blundered into a cloud of interstellar gas and was still devouring the remains. Persistent tatters glowed orange and blue against a backdrop of stars, a vast, doomed display of color and light. Kusanagi Jones could glimpse part of the clean-swept elliptical path that marked the orbit of New Amazonia, a darker streak like a worm tunnel in a leaf. Breathtaking, ridiculously named, and his destination, or rather, their destination, which was why he was drinking. And why he didn't intend to stop. As if the destination and the mission weren't bad enough, there was the little issue of Vincent to contend with. Vincent Catherinson, the old Earth Colonial Coalition Cabinet's velvet-gloved iron hand, far too field-effective to be categorized as a mere diplomatic envoy, no matter how his passport was coded. Vincent, whom Kusanagi Jones had managed to avoid for the duration of the voyage, by first taking to cryo, damn the nightmares, and then restricting himself to the cramped comforts of his quarters, and whom he could avoid no longer. Vincent was brilliant, unconventional, almost protean in his thinking. Unless something remarkable had changed, he wore spiky, kinky, sandy auburn braids, a shade darker than his freckled skin, and a shade paler than his light-catching eyes. He was tall, sarcastic, slender, bird-handed, generous with smiles, as breathtaking as the nebula outside the bubble port. And he was the man Michelangelo Kusanagi Jones had loved for 40 years, although he had not seen him in 17, since the last time he had betrayed him. Not that anybody was counting. Kusanagi Jones had anticipated their date by hours, until the gray and white lounge with its gray and white furniture retreated from his awareness like a painted backdrop. If Kusanagi Jones captained a starship, he'd license it in reds and golds, vivid prints, anything to combat the black boredom of space. Another man might have snorted and shaken his head, but Kusanagi Jones didn't quite permit himself a smile of self-knowledge. He was trying to distract himself, because the liquor wasn't helping anymore. And in addition to his other qualities, Vincent was also almost pathologically punctual. He should be along any tick, and in fact, a shadow now moved across Kusanagi Jones' fisheye sensor, accompanied by the rasp of shoes on carpet. Michelangelo. Kusanagi Jones finished his drink, set the glass in the dispense-all, and turned. No, Vincent hadn't changed. Slightly softer, belly and chin not as tight as in their youth, gray dulling hair he was too proud to have melanized, but in the vigorous middle age of his 60s, Vincent was still Mr. Catherinson. Kusanagi Jones made his decision and extended his hand, ignoring Vincent's considering frown. Not a gesture one made to a business associate. Through the resistance of their wardrobes, fingers brushed, hands clasped. Vincent hadn't changed his program either. They could still touch. Kusanagi Jones had thought he was ready. But if he hadn't known, he would have thought he'd been jabbed, nano-infected. He'd have snatched his hand back and checked his readout, hoping his docs could improvise a counteragent. But it was just chemistry. The reason they'd been separated. The reason they were here, together again, on a...
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.